Struggling to cope with infidelity after catching my wife cheating the day before our anniversary. The heartbreaking truth was revealed on January 29th, and since then, I've been seeking solace by reading posts on this subreddit. Sharing my experience feels like a cathartic step forward, as I find myself replaying the details in my mind every day. Our journey spans 29 years of togetherness, with 26 of those years in marriage. I am a 51-year-old male from IL, and she is a 49-year-old female with 2 grown children, aged 24 and 22. We met in college, fell in love, and built what I believe to be a solid and loving marriage. Our shared experiences, open communication, and mutual support in our successful careers created a strong bond between us. Although our intimate moments may have evolved over time, our connection remained deep and passionate. She works in IT, while I run a landscaping company with 75 employees after graduating. She began working remotely more frequently due to the pandemic. We had discussed the idea of me gradually stepping back from day-to-day operations and her transitioning to part-time work so we could have more time together, travel, and enjoy life. Looking back, I realized there were no warning signs that I often hear about, such as secretive texting, guarding of phones, changes in clothing, unusual behavior, or late nights out with co-workers. When she did go out, it was usually with friends and family, and I would always hear the next day about how I should have joined them. However, I preferred for her to have her own social time while I enjoyed working on projects in my shop. She would always return home early. I was completely caught off guard by what happened next. Just before what I now refer to as D-Day, I had arranged a surprise weekend getaway at a charming bed and breakfast owned by friends for our anniversary. The winter festival in our state was that same weekend. I left work early with the intention of surprising her and whisking her away for a romantic escape. As I pulled into the driveway with excitement, I discovered a strange car arrived suddenly, catching my attention immediately. Although I couldn't explain why, an unsettling feeling washed over me. Despite hoping and praying that my instincts were wrong, my gut told me otherwise. Unsure of how to proceed, I deliberated whether to confront the situation later or ignore it entirely. My nerves were so frayed that I could barely think straight. I often told myself to face uncomfortable situations head-on at work, urging myself to man up and get through it. Suddenly, my trembling subsided and an eerie calmness settled over me, even though I felt like a wreck inside. Quietly entering through the back door, I was met by my black lab, who seemed to sense my distress with a mournful expression. Instead of his usual enthusiastic greeting, he watched silently as I made my way upstairs. The sounds coming from our bedroom confirmed my worst fears. Steeling myself, I approached the door and flung it open, only to find my wife's boss in a compromising position with her. In a moment of shock, I blurted out surprise. The chaotic aftermath that ensued would have been comical if the pain weren't so deep. As her boss struggled to disentangle himself from the sheets, my wife's expression was a mix of shame and regret, leaving me devastated and heartbroken, yelling, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God," and struggling to untangle himself. He eventually frees himself and searches for his clothes, only to discover them on the opposite side of the bed. The realization hits him hard, in the spot where his own belongings used to be placed. Acting quickly, he beats the other person to the clothes and retrieves them. Amidst his wife's tearful apologies, he retreats to the door, where the other person stands naked by the bed. Seizing a large chair, he positions it by the door and takes a seat. When the other person requests their clothes, he refuses, instead offering his wife's robe. As the situation escalates, he warns the other person to stay back, citing his physical fitness and experience. With tensions high and emotions running deep, he asserts that a physical confrontation would not end well for either of them. Subsequently, the other person complies and takes a seat, while his wife weeps into a pillow. An awkward silence filled the room as he inquired, "What now?" Unsure of what to say, I responded, "I have no idea." Despite my wife still shedding tears, she composed herself and sat up. Determined to get to the bottom of things, I took out my phone and informed them that they needed to disclose everything while I recorded it. They exchanged glances, and my wife questioned, "What do you mean by everything?" I asserted, "Absolutely everything." How it all started, how long it's been going on, the when, where, details about hotels, dinners, and more. I want the whole truth. My wife insisted this was a one-time mistake. I interrupted, "That's not believable. You wouldn't have brought him into our bed if this hadn't been ongoing." Threatening to leave and seek a divorce lawyer if she lied again, my wife broke down in tears once more. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, the truth unfolded. The affair had been happening for over 9 months, beginning with innocent flirting leading to lunches and eventually hotel encounters. That night, she had returned home as if nothing had occurred. She claimed that the guilt had been consuming her, but she struggled with how to confess. Once again, I reached for my phone to document the rest of the story. If it was killing you, it would not have been so easy to keep it going, I thought. They even went to a week-long convention for work that I used to go with her to. She told me company policy changed, and spouses couldn't go anymore. I put my phone away in more silence. Then an idea hits me. I look through his clothes for his phone and then ask him for the passcode. He actually gives it to me, so I start going through his phone. I find some pictures of a woman I assume is his wife and ask her name, Carol. She's very pretty, but not as pretty as my Ashley. I tell him more pictures of kids. Find out he has 3. And finally, a family picture of all of them. I hold up the phone and say, "A beautiful family. Why did you throw it all away for a tumble with my wife?" His reply, "What do you mean, throw it all away?" Me, "You really think Carol isn't going to find out?" Him, "How is she going to find out?" Me, "I'm going to call her right now." He stands up and says, "No, you can't." My wife screams out, "Please, you can't do this to him." I lost it. Can't do this to him. You've destroyed me, our family, our friends, our future, and broken my heart. And you're worried about him? I'm shaking again, trying not to let her see me cry. But I can't hold it together anymore. I fall back in the chair and start sobbing. She tries to come over to me, but I look at her and say, "Stay the hell away from me." After a while, I calm down and look at his phone again. He again says, "Please don't. I'm begging you." I swear I'll tell her. "Yeah, I'm right," I reply. He's standing there, pleading with me not to. As I find her number and decide FaceTime would be even better. She answers, and "Hi, sweet," looks surprised and says, "Who are you? Is my husband okay?" He is for now, but won't be in a minute. I flip the screen to show him standing there in my wife's robe. I say, "I believe you know him." The room he's standing in is my bedroom. The floral robe he's wearing belongs to this woman. Swinging the phone to catch my wife trying to pull the sheets over her head. But it's too late. That's my wife, and I came home early today. Upon discovering them engaged in a sexual act, I am filled with sorrow for her and regret for my actions. She begins to cry, and he attempts to apologize, explaining that it was a one-time occurrence. I urge her not to believe his words, revealing that their affair has been ongoing for over 9 months, and that I have recorded all the details they disclosed in the past 15 minutes. I'd offer to send her the evidence via text and instruct her to provide me with her email address. Handing him the phone, I hear her warn him that there will be a packed bag waiting outside when he returns home, and that if he attempts to enter the house, she will involve the authorities before hanging up. I toss his clothes to him, and he leaves after getting dressed, leaving just my wife and me. Tears well up in her eyes as she expresses her regret, insisting that she never intended to cause me pain. She asks for forgiveness, claiming that it meant nothing and resorting to the typical excuses of a cheater. Without a word, I instruct her to pack a bag and leave my house immediately. Descending to the lower level, I pour myself a drink and sit on the couch, contemplating the situation as the woman descended the stairs. She approached me, and I uttered, "Please just hold on." In response, she inquired if we could discuss the situation, to which I replied, "Perhaps, but not now." I mentioned how challenging it would be to refrain from seeking legal advice for divorce, leading to her tears resurfacing. I could sense her about to declare her love for me, but I interjected, insisting that she refrain from doing so at that moment as I was uncertain I could believe it anymore. She wept as she turned and exited through the door, seemingly taking my overwhelmed with emotion. I collapsed to the floor, shuddering and crying uncontrollably. After some time, I managed to compose myself slightly and phoned my best friend. Attempting to speak, I broke into tears again, hindering my ability to communicate. Despite his inquiries about the issue at hand, I was unable to articulate my thoughts. When he questioned if I was home, I managed to grunt a confirmation, and he assured he would arrive shortly. 30 minutes later, he was inside my house, finding me still in distress. Passing him my phone with the video displayed, he watched the footage while I stepped into the kitchen to fetch us drinks. She takes away my drinks, saying they won't help, then informs me he can't stay the night alone and goes to pack a bag. I join him downstairs, where he has my dog on a leash, and we head to his house. It has been 10 days and I still feel awful. Top advice: meet with a lawyer to understand your options, get tested for STDs, inform your kids and family before your spouse spins the story, take time for yourself, write down your questions, and prepare to use any recordings as evidence. It's a tough situation after 29 years, but take the necessary steps for your well-being. I appreciate your feedback. It sounds like the situation you're referring to has triggered strong emotions and raised important questions. It's good to hear that you have support from a friend and that measures were taken to address concerning behaviors. I understand you have concerns and curiosity about various aspects of this situation, such as how your children are handling it, whether you've talked to the person involved, and if legal advice has been sought. It's wise to wait until you feel ready to address these matters. Sharing updates with your community can indeed provide both support and valuable insights. I commend your efforts in documenting the situation and reaching out to others involved. It seems like a difficult decision has been made regarding the relationship, and sometimes moving forward is the best choice for all parties involved. Your story, Done Deal, reflects a challenging period in your life where you focused on personal growth after a difficult breakup. Writing about your experiences can be therapeutic and help you process your feelings. It's important to acknowledge your own journey and growth throughout such experiences. I put myself back together, finally reaching a point where I was truly content with who I had become. Ready to open my heart once more, I met Kate, a remarkable 26-year-old woman who seemed to embody everything I had ever desired and more. I had snagged the girl every man coveted. However, the issue was that every man continued to covet her, a fact she was well aware of and seemed to relish. Despite the competition for her affections, I loved Kate with a depth of passion and intensity unlike anything I had felt before. I threw myself wholeheartedly into our relationship, devoting every ounce of my being to her. I was determined to be the best partner I could be for her, eager to share my love with someone who seemed to fit so perfectly into my life. While Kate was far from flawless, her imperfections only served to make her more genuine and endearing. Love, after all, transcends reason and embraces imperfections. In many ways, choosing to love recklessly and against all logic is the purest form of love. It is easy to love something for its perfection, much like slipping a penny into your pocket. Yet to love something despite its flaws, recognize and embrace the imperfections, it is a rare, pure, and ideal trait. One day, while descending an escalator, I noticed a message from her younger, slightly more mischievous sister appear. Do you think Max XYZ is attractive? I'm with Sam. 3 minutes later, she was in a bad mood. Curious, Sam inquired about her foul mood. She replied with a simple nothing. Her sister can be unkind at times. Unbeknownst to her, I had caught a glimpse of the conversation. Our relationship was founded on open communication, so her secrecy raised concerns for me. That night, feeling insecure, I checked her phone. The messages to her sister had been deleted entirely, indicating she was hiding something. Despite my doubts, I convinced myself she had good intentions and chose not to confront her. Fast forward a few months, she moved in with me after a month apart. Something felt amiss. Suspecting something was wrong, I asked her while she was journaling. Writes about she declined to answer. We had a long conversation a few days later. Anything I need to know type conversations. Nothing again. My insecurity got the better of me, and I cracked. I read the journal for our whole relationship. It was littered with entries such as, "Woke up and daydreamed about Max. I know if I got the chance, I would cheat on Sam with Max. I will regret this not exploring with Max. I want an honest chance with him. Sitting here waiting for Max to text me. I don't have the energy to talk to Sam. Not only Max, I am thinking about intercourse with Sam, and wishing it could be with Wyatt. I will never accept that Wyatt and I will not hook up. Big weekend, got drunk. Cheated on Sam with Wyatt. I confronted her about it. She said these were just fantasies, that the cheating was just texting, that it wasn't real. That I had violated the trust by reading her diary. I agreed. We had both messed up. Said I give her a second chance. That I understand that she might be having second thoughts. We all have moments when our thoughts carry us away. I found solace in the fact that she was documenting her thoughts and letting them go. Many of the entries were written when we were apart, back in January. As February began, she returned to her place. My mother came to visit, and while it could have been awkward, it wasn't. 5 days after she moved out, a month after the diary incident, on a Friday, we took a long walk. She spoke about our long-term future, envisioning us going the distance. She asked about raising children in this place, and who she would invite to our wedding. That night, she had a girls' night with her housemates and got drunk. She didn't text me good night, and I woke up several times in the night, feeling unsettled. It felt familiar, like a scene from a previous experience. I discovered the reason for my unease. She had liked his latest Instagram post. I went to her place first thing that morning. We talked, and she assured me that she had only shared the diary incident with her housemates and had simply liked the photo, without texting him or anything. We resolved the issue and reconnected intimately. I spent the next 3 hours working through things with Kate, discussing our future together, including kids and other long-term plans such as moving in together again. While she was in the bathroom, I made a mistake by checking her phone. I saw that she had texted her sister, questioning whether she should stay with me because I would love her unconditionally, even if she did something wrong, or if she should explore relationships with other guys. Additionally, there was a text to Max, but the context was unclear as the previous conversation had been deleted. She had passed out before being able to delete this text, which was also saved in her notes before being sent via Instagram DM. I couldn't understand why she was falling asleep talking to other guys instead of texting me good night. When she returned from the bathroom, I confronted her about talking to Max, and she tearfully admitted to it. I had to break up with her on the spot, even though it was incredibly hard to do so, especially after giving her a chance just a month prior. Walking away from someone I loved so deeply was the hardest decision I have ever made, despite clearly expressing to her from the beginning what would hurt me. Most did it perfectly, and she did. 4 days have passed since then, and we haven't spoken at all. I wonder if we will. I lie awake at night and think about her. I wonder if I made the wrong decision, if I just threw away something that could have been beautiful. I wonder if all the love I gave her will ever come back to me. But I think while it wasn't physical infidelity, it was clear her heart wasn't with me. I think I did the right thing. Thanks to all of you here for being inspiring. My story isn't half as bad as most of them, but it hurts all the same. I have doubts in myself now. Hope I see you through music. Now for the top advice. You did the right thing. Trying to be in a relationship with someone who is in love with someone else is an exercise in futility. I'm sorry it didn't work, but she's proven she is not to be trusted. She's a milk dud, sweet on the outside, pure poison on the inside, such an apt description. Part of me hopes she will change and fight for us. Part of me recognizes the futility. Don't drink poison. It's clear that you're feeling hurt and undervalued in this situation. You've recognized the pattern of behavior where you were viewed as a safety net rather than a priority. By choosing to let go and move on, you are taking a step towards reclaiming your self-respect and focusing on your own well-being. It's important to maintain no contact and prioritize yourself moving forward. You deserve to be with someone who sees your true worth and respects you. Keep prioritizing your own growth and healing. I appreciate all the feedback on this matter. It's been helpful to see different perspectives, whether they praise my strength or criticize my actions. I wanted to be honest and vulnerable in expressing my feelings for Kate, who I still see as an angel. I aim to present the facts objectively for unbiased opinions. I've been struggling with doubts and emotions late at night, but reading your responses has given me confidence in my decisions. I need to rest now, but I will keep reading and responding. Thank you all for your support. When I inevitably wake up at an early hour of the morning, I find solace in this routine. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts, and I am grateful for the engagement from all of you. Thank you to all the online strangers, and that concludes this video, everyone. If you have any feedback or ideas to offer, please feel free to leave a comment. Don't forget to give a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoy this content. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.